Good evening, everybody. Welcome to School Committee Meeting 1683. Standing reports, approval of school committee minutes 1682 on March 20th, 25. And the public hearing.
Motion to approve school committee minutes.
Second. Yeah, Bonnie put the motion through.
Yep.
I have a couple of edits
Yep.
or amendments.
I do as well.
You do as well. Bonnie, do you want to go first since you made the motion?
Okay. All right, I will. Very minor.
Yeah.
Under when Marie Higgins is speaking.
You're breaking up.
The apostrophe is in the wrong place.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
Good comment. Oh, the apostrophe for this year's budget?
Exactly.
Oh, so on that word, the apostrophe is in the wrong
Oh,
place.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
It's
didn't.
apostrophe S, not a plural.
Yeah.
Multi-years budgets.
And then when Julie Hannum was speaking, she says amazed at the total budget. The word increase is left out.
Right. Yeah, that was one of my corrections as well. That was on
Okay.
page 4, near the top of that the total budget increase is under 4%.
And then I said, suggested that there be a finance subcommittee post-mortem meeting to review the budget process.
Yeah, I think that's there, though, isn't it? The last sentence,
That might be.
Finance Committee scheduling a meeting to discuss budget.
And well, it's elsewhere. It's elsewhere, but it wasn't,
Oh,
and then under Sandy's report, Director of Student Services, in the coming weeks, comma, this otherwise doesn't make real sense. That's it. There's time in little
in
things.
the coming weeks, I don't know where that is. Okay. And what I wanted to add on page 4, Stephanie Ulrich, there's an E on the end of her name. It's IE at the end.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
second to last paragraph?
Right, right. Yeah. And I wasn't sure, this is sort of a question mark on the bottom where we made, Bonnie called the question. And we sort of did things out of order when Carl asked us about the procedure, that when we took the vote that we said was approving the budget, that was actually the motion to call the question. So it feels like when you read, I mean, this is actually what transpired in the transcription in the minutes, but it feels like the call to question should be that, those last two bolded, those 3 little sections should be more up toward the beginning of new business, because there was discussion and then Bonnie called the question and then we vote. It's just that what we actually did was a little out of order, but to make it make sense in the minutes, I'm just wondering if we should move it. If we don't, it's okay, because I know that's what the transcription did, but we were
Exactly.
a little backwards on that, but yeah. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts about that. Where's Carl?
Where is it?
Carl paying attention?
Where is it?
This,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Well,
Again,
do you want to hear from me on that?
I was-
Because, well, this is what happened. That Bonnie called the question, and the chair asked for a vote. the approval. And I then pointed out that actually there needed to be a vote on whether the question was called. And so,
Correct.
so we had two votes, one on calling the question, which passed, and then on approving the budget, which also passed. So, I mean, for the sake of proper symmetry, the minutes should reflect that the question was called and there was a vote on that motion by Bonnie, and then there was the motion on approving the budget, which was also voted on, and was also passed. There shouldn't be, I mean, I think we all know that's what happened. It is a little bit awkward in the minutes, but I don't see a problem with it, but that's just my view.
All right, then leave that alone.
Okay.
I mean, we did, yeah.
All right,
Yes, Bonnie?
I have a suggestion. What if we just add there, the question, the calling of a question was approved by the committee, and the committee then approved the budget?
Yeah, I think, I agree with that suggestion by Bonnie.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So can we take a vote on the amended minutes? Julie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes?
Bonnie?
Yes.
And Miguel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then we have public
Receipt.
hearings.
Receipt of correspondence?
None.
None. No, roll,
Do we need to do
excuse
this?
me, enrollment report.
We have the March 17th.
Oh, yeah, we need to do the other minutes.
Oh, right. March 17th minutes?
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Second.
Anybody have any questions?
No,
Seeing,
I have no correction.
okay, seeing none. Julie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jim? Kim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Bonnie? Miguel?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we have no receipt of correspondence. Enrollment report.
On page 2C in your packet is the enrollment report, and as of April 1st, we are up 3 students at 613.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Student representative report.
So we don't have a representative or a spotlight tonight because we have lots of rescheduled things, commitments, games, things like that, so, as we head into the April break, so.
Okay. Public comment? Seeing none? Business managers report. Approval of the warrants.
Good evening. We're seeking approval of the health insurance, vendor, and payroll warrants this evening.
I move that we approve the warrants that have been presented.
Second.
Anybody have any questions? Seeing none? Julie?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
And Miguel. Thank you.
Yes.
you.
Vote, and me, Arthur. Vote to accept grants and gifts.
Not
Any?
done this evening,
Okay, thank you. Budget transfers?
not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Chairman's report. Briefly, I was at the Sandy Hook presentation for the high school and the middle school. It was pretty awesome. He was engaged with the kids loved him, and it was well represented. That's all I have for tonight. Superintendent's report.
Okay, so, for tonight, I just wanted to share that the House Ways and Means released their budget yesterday, and there was kind of a detailed presentation, which I will update soon to the committee, probably after break, but I'm very disappointed in the rural aid component. I think there was some strong advocacy done on behalf of schools, and it has been dropped on the House Ways and Means from $16 million to $7.5 million, which is, I think, a very backwards step for the work that has been done on behalf of regional schools, rural schools. They did increase the minimum aid to $150 per pupil, but again, that really isn't material in any way and makes a very little difference, if any, to schools, especially schools like the smaller school districts. But again, it does benefit those who also benefit from the Student Opportunities Act formula. They also refuse to look at the funding formula in the state, so that is also very disappointing. I think there's some hope that people will still go ahead and advocate for that. They did increase, the universal free lunch is fully funded. They put regional transportation at 100%, which has never happened. However, it was at 95, so again, it's not giving us any real big boost. They have made an effort with circuit breaker and transportation, but overall, I'm kind of disappointed. So we'll work on this and calculate and see what changes have been made or what this looks like for us, but we're not at the end, so there still could be some more movement, but that's the latest update right now. I think, so the other thing, we did have our second bid opening for our transportation contract, and we had two bids, but one that was responsive and responsible, so we will be doing the negotiations and the preparation of a contract with Dufour Bus Company as the responsive bidder. So in a couple of weeks, we'll put together a contract and bring it to the committee for approval. I think that's all. You have a question?
Yeah, going to the House Ways and Means choice to basically cut the rural funding by almost a little bit over 50%. Is this something that we could use to create a template for advocacy?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear from,
We'll work on that.
yeah.
Okay. Got that, Miguel?
So that,
Yep, I heard that.
to follow up on that question,
Yeah,
You know,
that's a significant chunk.
Yeah.
You got it, honey.
with the magic you work, what kind, with that 50% reduction on that piece, how will that impact the budget overall?
Well, we have to plug in all these
I
pieces.
mean, there's many more pieces. I
Correct.
just wondered if
So that
you
is-
already foresee an issue with that particular piece.
Well, we have about 250,000 allocated to the budget, and so this will be half of that,
Right.
roughly. However, we have, I think, the per pupil was at 140 or, so there'll be a little bit of a shift. So there's going to be little moving parts, the 95 to the 100%.
Right.
So give or take.
So it's still too early to
It's
say?
too early, but we will do a
Okay.
calculation and say, we're either really concerned about it or we're not. But either way, this is not the direction we
Oh,
should be
no.
going in
No,
at
no.
all at the state level. So I think
Yeah.
we really have to say something,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we can do that well, too.
okay.
That's all I have for now. I feel a little Debbie Downer. Oh, Bonnie, go ahead.
Bonnie?
Well, this is not a Debbie Downer piece, but I did want to acknowledge all the work that went into actually getting us a bidder who was able to be responsive to all the criteria. And I know a lot of that came from your office, Beth, and appreciate it.
Good point, Bonnie, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Set?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Professional Development.
I don't know that she's on. Okay,
I
so
thought I
let's
saw her.
go, I
Okay.
thought so, but I don't see her right now. Okay.
Director of Student Services.
Hi, good evening. I did a report tonight, Bonnie. I'm such a grammarian that I immediately had to go look at my last report about that comma. Because I have a thing about commas and, yeah.
I love
use
them.
of
I love them,
You can
yeah.
see it in mine on my computer, that's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, as far as the report tonight, I just wanted to mention, we did have a vaccination clinic here last night, kind of a focus on measles. In a review recently, we did have kind of a lower number than we would like of, at least reported, of students who are fully vaccinated for measles. And as you've heard, not in our state right now, but in other states currently, there are some cases that we're concerned about. And with travel coming up, with the April break, and the potential for exposure for unvaccinated individuals, it can be quite an issue. And if exposed and showing symptoms, that means exclusion from school. So thank you to the Tri-Town Health Alliance for really pulling together quickly to have that vaccination clinic yesterday. That was terrific. We did some outreach to families who we knew of, some of our younger students who hadn't had the full vaccination yet. There's quite a wait to get into the doctor's office, but Tri-Town Health has made these vaccinations available. So we had that yesterday. Flu and COVID vaccines were also available, but that was great. So I just wanted to say that and really thank you to all of them, Jane Smith especially, and Jill Sweet. Other things, I've had questions come to me again. It's that time of year where we're reporting for school choice, and people often ask me about students who receive special education services in school choice. So if we have students who are school choice students who also receive special education services, I was just working on it actually because it's due right after the break. Great timing. They just changed their entire system and gave this all to us, when, yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
But anyway, for each service a child receives, we report to the state. So you know that there's a standard rate of $5,000 for each school choice student that we are receiving here in the district. If they receive services, there's a dollar amount associated with each service, depending on if it's an individual service, if it's a small group service or a group service. And based on the professional that provides that service, there's a rate attached. The rate is pretty, I would say, pretty standard to what a rate would be that you would be paying that individual. So for example, I'm giving you approximate numbers, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. An hour of a special education teaching service is approximately $77 for the hour. So just so you understand. And that's varies again for individual versus small group versus in larger group services. But I just think it's important for you to know that. And currently we have, I believe 14 students that we receive, school choice students who have services, and right now I'm reporting all of that. So I'll have a better number to you after I get this done. Just sitting here tonight, I got 2 done. I was very happy to be able to do that. I'm feeling comfortable with the new system, so that's good. So I wanted you to know about that. Back to my report real quick. Summer program is really coming together, and we're offering support not only to students with disabilities, but to other students who are struggling a bit. And it's come to me over the past 4, now 5 years. We received the Summer Step Up grant for United Way of Mass Bay, and they reached out to us again and still want to partner with us. We don't know exact numbers, but still they'll be able to support our summer program in some way, shape, or form, so that's been terrific. And the last thing I just want to mention again, Special Olympics is coming up really soon. It's May 7th at Monument Mountain, 9 a.m. You're all invited. Hopefully it's a nice day, and it's always a good time. We have a number of our students who are going to be competing in a variety of events, and it's always fun. That's all I have. Any questions?
I do.
Okay.
How many children do you think we're going to have for the summer program
How
at
many?
ballpark?
If I had to ballpark right this very second, I'm going to say 55-ish. Somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
People, it's hard,
Yeah.
it's hard to
That's-
plan ahead and get that information in, but based on what we know right now, people have told us who's coming, even if they haven't put in the registration paperwork, around there.
Is this pre-K to 12? Or what grade level is that summer program?
So, technically, yes, the answer to that is yes. It's more focused elementary, just based on, because for students who have special needs, it's in their IEPs, and most often it's in IEPs of younger students. But we do have a number of students who are in the middle and high school who are also invited.
My son is participating as well, so his registration was just sent in. So
56. And I wanted to put a shout out to the people who have applied to work this summer too. We've had a lot of interest, Liz O'Donnell being one of them, and it's been terrific. Right, Liz? That's right. Sometimes I just said that.
Yeah, right, Liz.
Oh, no,
Anyway,
it sounds
thank you.
fabulous.
Thank you.
Question here, comment.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Okay, sorry about it, but I really feel that we should, as a school committee, extend our gratitude and appreciation to Tri-Town. They promised us, after the height of the COVID, they weren't abandoning us, they wanted to work with us in terms of initiatives, and the work that Sandy's done with them. I think we should acknowledge and thank them with a, just short note, if that would be appropriate.
I think that's a good
Number to thank Tri-Town for the cooperative. And then my second part of my question, did you, Beth, or the principals, I thought it was wonderful material that you sent out in support of the vaccination program. Did you get feedback on it? Change minds, get people vaccinated.
I can speak to that real briefly. I had,
Thank you.
we did have, I can say a small number of people that reached out directly about, they were very appreciative of the information, especially the information regarding travel and how that could be impactful. And,
Exactly.
and I do know that at least a very small number decided to come in to get those vaccinations, even if they weren't maybe necessarily planning on it right now. So I do know that. I don't know exactly where the numbers were, but.
I just think that we all took the opportunity to put it in our different newsletters, on the website. We really wanted to turn that information around and make sure people knew about it. It was a very quick turnaround from the initial contact and a real widespread community event that they organized. So they did a really nice job with that, and everybody turned around a lot of information quickly. So
That meeting was literally last Wednesday.
it was, yeah, it was very, yeah.
So that was great.
And that's why I wanted to extend the appreciation, because that was a real community outreach initiative.
Yes.
Anybody else? Thank you. New business, approval to participate in school choice for FY '26.
So,
Motion to,
go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
motion to have the Southern Berkshire Regional District participate in the school choice programs for 25-26.
Second the motion.
Okay, so do you want me to? Sure. So the only reason, we often have a chart which would show, where we would take school choice, but we really, I think every grade but pre-K typically has space for school choice. But we do need to report to the state, just acknowledge whether or not we are considering participating before May 1st, which is why it's on this agenda. Because, if we want to say yes, we're happy to put a chart together with, what the grade levels are, like we always do afterwards. But I think we've been very conscious about keeping our school choice numbers under 10% overall in our district. But we'll be able to give you specific numbers in a chart at a later date. I think we just need to acknowledge whether or not we're going to move forward, so Michelle can send that into the state.
Okay. Carl?
I missed what we're up here. Are we voting on something?
Yes, the
Motion's made in
motion
second.
that I didn't participate.
Here, okay. Yeah, the answer is yes.
Thank you, Carl.
But
Are there any other questions? I couldn't tell if you had a question or you wanted to vote. Or let us know when we're going to vote, Art.
We're voting now, Carl.
Oh,
We got your yes, though.
Yeah, we have your yes.
that's correct. Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Jim, Kim,
Yes.
Bonnie,
yes,
Miguel,
Yes.
Arthur, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, 25-26 Mount Everett Program of Studies.
Mr. Carpenter.
Mr. Carpenter.
We can have a few at this table, Mr. Carpenter?
All right, so the program of studies each year, our process is our departments meet and look at the classes that we offered the year before, look at the possibility of offering new courses, or in some cases, in the change log, you can see made some changes to the descriptions based on new material they might want to do, or new objectives they might have in that course. We had a few new classes added this year. Some of them were classes that, an example is the Art Foundations class. It's now Art 1. Really, it was the same scope of what they wanted to accomplish, with a little bit of some new things that they thought was a better way to have our art sequence. And then there's other classes that are completely new. Piano 2 is an example, which we ran this year after having some real interest by the kids who were in Piano 1, wanted to continue with it. So on the fly, we developed Piano 2 to go along with it. So there's some flexibility in the way that we can create classes that way. And then obviously there's some brand new classes that we're going to look at to see if students are interested in. EV engineering is a good example, which goes along with our clean energy, innovative pathway. So, when you look through it, you kind of do it by department and try to keep it together, although the sequence of it includes all the electives too. So when you look at the, English department and you see all those different classes, for the most part, kids are doing like, 9th grade English, 10th grade English, 11th grade English, and then some kind of senior experience, which most of our kids are either doing the the AP class or an early college class. And so those electives are available to them based on what they're interested in and things like that. So we have a wide variety of those in each subject area. Obviously, there are certain subjects, math's a good example, where there are fewer electives because we just don't have the capacity for all that many with the required math classes kids have to take. But we do use some of the early college opportunities to add some variety once the kids get to their senior year. Does anybody have any questions?
How many do we have time for? They're all really good questions.
As many as you want to ask.
No, easy. I mentioned to you early, Jesse, I noticed so many electives, and you spoke to me, but just for everyone, when you have so many electives, how do you, with our small student population, how do we juggle that? And are there ever classes that have to be canceled because there's not enough students, or what's our critical mass?
I mean, that's a great question. I think, for the most part, we want to try to gauge where kids are and what interests them. So there's a lot of scope in some of the variety in English and history and things like that. And depending on the year, depends on which classes will run. We do get some classes that become very popular. So, we have a couple history classes, geography, and psychology and film, which have run the last few years because there's been so many kids interested in taking them. There's other classes that year to year, it just depends, and we won't offer it 1 year, but then 2 years later we offer it. The number, we try to get it as many kids as we can in the classes. We don't like to run classes that have 1 or 2 or 3 kids. There are times when we have run some classes with 4 or 5 or 6 if it's things that kids are really interested in and it really speaks to sort of where they want to go in the future. So a good example are some of our early college classes. We haven't wanted to not run it when you have kids who are like, I'm really interested in doing this in college or in the real world. We try to make that happen. And in some cases, Chris's technology classes are a good example. Sometimes we'll mix 3 or 4 classes, different classes into one classroom because he has the space with makerspace or going outside. Was it today or yesterday you had kids out with the go-kart working on that, while you also had kids with drones. So we had 2 different experiences going on. So, we try to do that whenever we can. It's tricky in some classes to combine them like that, but it works in some of our, more elective classes.
No, I figured that out. When the commissioner was here last fall and we did our tour, that was when we were in Chris's room, and I realized, well, this is this class, and this is this class, and this is this, and I'm like, oh my God, our IT director is also teaching 3 classes in the same period. All right, so then it kind of gave me a glimpse of how we're able to accommodate and give those offerings, and I just think that's pretty brilliant, but I cannot imagine what the master schedule looks like. I mean, I just gotta say, I can't even.
It's a bit cumbersome, but I'm glad you brought that up because Chris has been great about giving kids opportunities. Like we had a situation last year where we had a kid who really wanted 3D printing and design, and there was no way to get that student in any of the sections that we had running, and ended up in the afternoon basically in another one of Chris's classes, but able to do the class that he wanted to do, which I think makes us unique in the sense that we're able to do that a little bit more than maybe some other people are.
I think that also shows the independence and self-education that the kids, that the kids are coming to into those programs with.
It works well in a project-based environment.
Yeah,
where you
right,
can just
exactly.
say, okay, you 3 are doing this, you 2 are doing this, and you 2 are doing this, and they go about. I certainly can't deliver 3 different lectures at the same time.
Absolutely. No. No,
Mr.
it's a project. Exactly. That's why it works. And I thought, wow, that's a great way to kind of maximize what can be offered. It was really, really good.
We talk about it all the time. Like
Sure.
It's in a high school schedule. It's difficult when kids are taking, 4 classes in their major academic classes, foreign language, and then if they're in band and chorus, right, there's 1 elective left. And so scheduling sometimes becomes tough. So when you have the ability to do some of that and slide some things around, it allows a student who wouldn't normally get that opportunity, the opportunity.
Yeah. And the other thing I was noticing, like, I think it was either in the math and in the foreign language, like it goes up to level 5, and of course there's 4 years of high school. So does that mean like you get algebra 1 in foreign language? They start in middle school. How does the math sequence and the foreign language
So
sequence?
with foreign language,
Yeah.
if students take it in let me start with 6th grade, they get an experience in both French and Spanish.
Okay.
Our hope is that they do 1 semester of each, that better informs them as to what language they might want to study in 7th grade. The kids who do 2 years in 7th and 8th grade of, say, Spanish, can then enroll in Spanish too.
Got it.
as
That's
a-
what I
as
thought.
a
I just wondered how that
9th
worked.
grader. In math, we kind of do the same thing. We still run in 8th grade sort of an honors math section, and we do it creatively in the 80-minute class. We have the first half of the class, the kids remain in their normal 8th grade class, and then the second half of that class, they end up with another teacher doing Algebra 1. And so that allows the sequence then to be honors geometry, and then honors algebra 2 as a 10th grader. And that's how we get to some of those upper levels.
That, I was kind of wondering how that kind of.
And then certainly with AP, that's up to the kids when they get to
Yeah.
their senior year. Are they going to try like an AP Spanish experience, or in the case of math, AP calculus?
Yeah, great. And I made an assumption, and I want to make sure I'm right. Where I see where it says like BC writing or BC A and P, that's Bard College, right? Is that what that means?
We're using the BC for Bard College in the sense that it's our early college
That it's the early
class.
college, yeah.
And Bard College from the start is the organization who's
Yeah.
obviously giving the credit.
Sure.
And so for us, it was an easy way in our system
Yeah.
to differentiate, and Rediker's our student
I
information
finally,
system.
yeah,
So-
after I got through, I finally figured, oh, these are the early college.
Yeah.
I wondered why it wasn't EC
Yeah.
for early college, not BC, but then it finally
One of
clicked,
the
you
things that
know?
they allow you to do is to have multiple institutes of higher learning.
Sure.
So in the event, and when we started this process, that we
Yeah.
had arrangements with other schools, we would differentiate by 2 letters in the beginning,
Yeah.
just so in our system it was easy. But then students can understand, okay, that might be with this college, or that might be with this college.
Yeah, so speaking of that in science, where it's BC Anatomy and Physiology and Forensic Science, those are new. So are those Bard faculty, or are they Mount Everett faculty that have
So,
been trained and to
Anatomy
be
and
able to do that?
Physiology is a Mount Everett
Yeah.
faculty member. And then Forensic Science is a professor from Simon's Rock Bard College, and they intend to have her come do it. She did it last year, and the class was popular, and so we're going to try it again.
So even though Simon's Rock's closed, that faculty would still come here and teach it? It's not online, it's
No,
in
I
person?
think they intend for that to be in person, and then we
Wow.
try not to, unless we know it's definitely online, put it in that program of studies. Sometimes that changes because there's other offerings Bard College can offer, and so sometimes right before school starts, you know, between guidance and the guidance department and me, we're handing out like sheets of, hey, these just became available, because we do have the add drop period
Right.
of about a week where kids can decide what their final classes are.
Okay. So, I mean, I thank you for hearing me. My youngest graduated 19 years ago, so I haven't actually looked at a program of studies book for a very long time. So this one's probably we're going to flip to Chris. What the heck is Internet of Things as a course? I was like, what?
Some of those courses you're seeing
had that
on
question.
the IT side of things, we're using those in partnership with Cisco's Networking Academy.
Yeah.
So it's an online class through Cisco Networking. Internet of Things is all about the little devices that are on the internet that kids might learn to build, or it's primarily a programming course. So your Ring door cam, your home temperature sensor, things like that. A lot of basic data sensors, proximity sensors, things of that nature. Those would be the Internet of Things, little pieces of.
So is it actually a programming class? Like
Primarily
learning to
programming
program
class.
how the home doorbell thing
Right,
works or something?
yeah, the kids would get like a little
Oh.
Arduino or Raspberry Pi, and they would learn to code and stuff like that for
Okay.
sensors primarily.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm really curious about the seal of biliteracy. I had never heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's goes along with graduation, and when kids can get to certain levels of proficiency,
Yeah.
they qualify for the seal of biliteracy. Over the last, I would say, 5-6 years, it's been a real push with the foreign language department.
Yep.
And the kids who, students who really are interested in attaining that will test multiple times, sometimes multiple times a year, because the test gives an idea of where you are in all the different areas of fluency. And so, we have a handful of kids each year who graduate
That's
who
amazing.
get the seal by literacy. And we've had a couple who have gotten in both languages,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah, and
That's-
so, that's something that, we would love to see in the foreign language department, would love to see every student continue through senior year. Again, it's hard, right? Like kids know that colleges look for a certain number of years of foreign language. So we do have some kids who, as they get older, want to do other things. And so, their schedule opens up a little if they don't do like a French 4 or 5, or if they don't do a AP Spanish. And so I think for each kid, it's kind of their own path with foreign language of like where they want to go. And, just anecdotally, we've had some kids who have stopped Spanish like their junior year. They don't take it senior year. Then they end up in a Spanish class in college and have some success with that. So it's for something they do go back to it.
Yeah, nice. So this was one, we talked about the first responder course a long time ago, and I noticed, I had no idea, number one, where that used to live in the program of studies, but I know that there was talk about an after-school version of something like that. I just wondered what the latest was with that.
So I think with the first responders class, we did not put it in the program of studies because we're going to try to gauge where the student interest is and what their interest is after school. Because I think, looking at schedules and things like that, it probably fits best somehow like that. I know there has been some talk with towns about if we offered it, could townspeople? And I think that is a possibility.
Like a continuing ed course
Sort
where
of.
adults could even
With adults
come
and
in and do
students,
something.
possibly.
would
Obviously,
be
there's a whole lot that has to get done prior to that happening.
Yeah.
And so, it's not included in the program of studies because I don't really think it's wise to include stuff that may not run, which is why we don't put some of the early college classes in if we're not sure they're going to run,
Right.
in the fall.
Right.
It's easy for us when we develop courses or bring back courses in the spring
Yeah.
because you have another add drop period that if all of a sudden we have some high interest in that and we can work out an agreement with the towns and how we do that and what time of night it is, then we can put that in as a spring class.
Nice. What department did that used to kind
So
of live on? Was it under science or entrepreneurship or?
We put it with the vocational
Okay, so the
offerings,
work-based learning, okay.
Only because we really didn't feel like it fit in science.
Well, that's
so to
why
speak.
I was like,
Yeah.
where did it
Yeah,
used to
so
fit?
we thought it made more sense under the vocational offerings that we have.
Okay, that's great. My other two things are just pretty technical. Somewhere, I can't tell you what page, but in the agricultural internship, there's a typo. The
Okay.
N for internship is missing.
Okay.
It's course 0338. That was just a typo that I saw.
Okay.
And then up in the art department, where it talks about course 0777, you move the course to art, I couldn't find it in art. So you want to check and make sure it's there. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, I was looking at it online. But just double check that it's there because, and I could have, it was kind of hard to scroll because it was very sensitive to scroll.
In the change log?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking, I printed the change log, but not the whole book. To art.
It's not there.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it in art, so if you mean to offer that, I just want to make sure that you check that to
Yep.
make sure it's in the art department. And I could be mistaken too, because like I said, my computer was very sensitive trying to scroll, so I could have missed it. But otherwise, thank you ever so much. Thanks for humoring me with all my questions on that.
No, thank
Because
you.
it was really fun to read through and look at the opportunities our small district can offer. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
amazing.
I do have to say, and I know I'm saying this on behalf of other people too, but we've really done a lot of work, and the high school has done it, the secondary has done a tremendous amount of work on this program of studies, and I just think it gets better and better every year. I think they've just done a really nice job of making this readable, have lots of offerings, they're very thoughtful about it, and there's always new things for kids to try, which I think is pretty nice. So they've done a lot of great work, and I want to make sure we thank the faculty and staff for doing so.
I get a question for you. Sorry, you're not done.
No, it's not done yet.
It's short. So I'm looking at science department, and I'm looking at, I'm confused what's happening with 3004, 3005, 3004 again, and 3009. Those are the ag and veterinary science. You're deleting exploratory agricultural science 2, or that's being deleted, and then exploratory ag is being added into, well, a different year, into the 2027-8. So I guess my questions are, where is the ag department, what's going on? That's going to be on page,
It doesn't say page, just the course number.
yeah, just go to science department. Just curious what's going on with those courses for the ag department, or the ag courses.
So originally we had exploratory agricultural science 2, which we've taken out. And then the exploratory agricultural science is going to be a full year class.
Oh, okay.
So we were running it as 2 semesters, 1 and 2.
I understand.
And it became problematic in the sense that we just assumed kids were going to do both ends of it. And sometimes they would take one and not take 2.
Oops.
And then worse, they want in for 2 without taking 1. So we realized that the best way to do it
You're
is
all
to
in.
make it a
All in.
And then for the veterinary science, is that a 1 semester, or is that also 2?
So that would be a 1 semester course, and the idea would be to offer the veterinarian science next year, and then not offer the exploratory agricultural science.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
We're getting a few, it's like anything else, we're getting some kids who are really interested in some of the healthcare fields, and so we're trying to meet those needs, and we have a bunch of kids right now who are really interested in sort of the agriculture, and so it's a matter of like
large
how we...
animal vet practices is what you want to be focused on. Enough of the guinea pigs and the cats. I'm just saying.
There's
we
not
do
enough,
not
right? There's not
have
enough.
I mean, it's bad.
it's
It's
true.
bad. It's dangerous, it's unsafe for
But
the,
we also want the people to want to take them, so that's what we're saying.
yeah,
I hear
like I
you,
say,
I hear
so.
you, I know.
And so again, in our sequence, right?
But so in the FFA, where I'm saying, like in the
Yeah.
FFA world, that would be good.
And we go with biology first and chemistry for most students. This plan offers the chance for kids as in their junior and senior year
That's cool.
to take the offering under this if that's something they're really interested in. Or they can go to physics or some of the anatomy and physiology, things like that.
Thank you.
One more quick question. I think it's quick. How do you ascertain, I know you said you gauge student interest and all of that
Yeah.
on developing new courses, and then what's the process? How does that work? Okay, you have 8 kids that would like to do this. Do you go to the related academic department and talk to them? How do you find somebody to teach it? Is it a course that's already there?
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's
what does that look
all
like,
of the
that process?
above. I mean, it's, a lot of times it's we look at sort of where the interest falls and is the teacher who can teach that class available. And so
Right.
sometimes it changes where in years, sometimes you get a ton of 9th graders who are like, oh, I want that elective, but it doesn't fit in the 9th grade schedule because of who's available to teach it. So sometimes we have those conversations with kids like, hey, just hang in there. You're going to get a shot at it in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Okay.
And then there's other times where, it's available for some students, and then the next year we try to move the class to hit the other grade level who couldn't get into it. I mean, we don't really give preference, but there's sometimes with seniors where we know if it's their last year and we have a couple that are trying to get into it. We have moved like physics, honors physics, regular physics to different spots in the schedule just to give those kids who are seniors the opportunity to take it before they leave. So it's a combination of all of it. In terms of how we gauge the interest, some teachers do surveys with kids when they're thinking about new classes, like, does this interest you?
Yeah.
And then, we put out, once guidance, once this process is done and everybody okays it, then guidance goes into classes, usually English classes because everybody has English, and gets the sheets to kids, and then they can start putting down what they want, and then that's kind of where we go from in terms of those electives.
Thank you.
And then do you ever have mixed grades so that if you have physics, for instance, or whatever, and you have some 10th graders and some seniors who are ready to take it, do you ever combine grades within classes?
If it's possible.
Yeah, that's what I mean in terms of the
Oh,
schedule.
yeah, if if kids are interested. It works a lot better in 11th and 12th grade
Sure.
than 10th and 12th grade, but in some of the electives, we do have that opportunity. So you see it in some of the wellness classes and art classes, you'll have 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. We have some electives that are 9 to 12.
Great.
And sometimes represented by all 4 grade levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great, thanks. Good job.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Aerospace
Yeah.
engineering,
Yes.
is that, when did we start that, or is it 2 years?
It's developed over the years, but this is probably the second year that it's been called that, exactly, yeah. And that's primarily our rocket program, drones,
Oh, okay,
yeah, I think.
all right. And the new course, video game design?
Yeah,
I'm
we-
sure-
we've
I'm
had-
sure that's quite popular.
You'd be surprised. But it's, we've had a couple different iterations of it, but the new course that we put in there kind of goes more in line with, where some of the technology's going. Chris, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, we knew that kids were interested in that. I think in years past, we might have had it through VHS or something like that. So we've always had something in there for some provider, but more recently we found a new provider that I thought was a pretty good fit for what kids were looking to do. So put that out there, and I think we ran the first semester with, I don't know, 8 or 9 kids in it or something. So James Sickett was the instructor in that class. But it was primarily an online experience for the kids that he's overseeing, making sure that they're making progress, having the right resources, getting access to the tools that they need to get to. But the kids were all learning in an online environment, building their basic games. I mean, they're kind of just starting with your simple, asteroids or Pac-Man, that type of game, and learning, understanding kind of the thought process behind strategies and development of those, and the coding and the programming and the sounds and the graphics and that kind of stuff. And then they get more complex as the semester goes along.
So it's a 1 semester.
Yeah, the concept was a 1 semester course, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if some kid came to us and said, hey, this is what you could go back 15 years to Timmy Reynolds when he was here. He looked for every opportunity to find a programming, 3D design course. And when his junior senior, okay, Timmy, we'll do this for you, we'll do this for you. And then he ends up helping to make Fortnite, So, he's somewhat the but
Yeah.
but yeah, so we can account, if a kid really wants to go further in that, it may not be in the program of studies, we might do an independent study for the kid, something like that. Like an IS Tech in there.
Or a studio.
Or studio.
I was going to say, that was my question. Yeah, if that could be something that a kid could do in Berk Studio. I think Bonnie's got a bunch of questions.
Actually, there's something else with all of this. Jesse, and this is a compliment, in terms of the overall handbook has really evolved, even though I have the same problem Julie did with things rolling off the page, etc. It is such a professional piece of work. It is so well done. And I have to say, that whole introduction, Jesse, that you put in, has got just the tone, because I look at it as a document that the public sees, that parents see, and when we talk about outreach and communication, this document is now at a whole other level. And thank you, because I know how much work goes into that.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Ditto, that was a nice message.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you very much.
I wonder,
You're welcome.
do you know by the end of the school year where you're going with classes, or not until next year?
I'd love to say yes. I think one of the struggles we have sometimes is getting all the students to hand in their paperwork.
How can they get out of here on the last day without turning in their course selection?
They're running.
You'd be surprised.
They're running.
I think
I hear
the big
Miguel
issue
giggling.
is that it's a lot of students who make their selections and then over the course of their summer change what they think they're going to do. And so again, it would be real easy for us to say, whatever we get on June whatever, the last day of school, and we're done, and not do an add drop period, but we try to accommodate students when they change. Sometimes it's major changes, like they go from having some idea of what their coursework looks like, and then they get an idea about some kind of internship, and all of a sudden their last 2 periods, which are going to have classes, they want a 2-period internship, and now we have to try to find if those are graduation requirements, where do they go in the schedule. So there are some kids where, 6 of the 7 classes change a week or 2 before school starts. Sometimes 3 or 4 classes change in that week-long drop period, and as they try to find. And again, we're a small school. We try to help the kids when they realize, I thought this was my path, but now I'm thinking maybe this, and when I looked into certain colleges, it told me I needed this, this, and this. I think some of our kids who have gotten involved in biology and some of the health-related fields recently, colleges, when they say things like, hey, you really should have the sequence of, biology, chemistry, physics, and anatomy and physiology, that sort of changes if they haven't taken certain classes. And so, that's part of it. And then the other part of it is just, things always change. And, if we can help certain classes move to different spots, which is more advantageous for kids to be focused, right? If we can move a class from the end of the day to the beginning of the day when possible, sometimes we do those things too. Although it is tricky because of the sequence of classes, sometimes it's impossible. But those all play into sort of the end product when it happens. We try to get a schedule mapped out where classes are going to go before we walk out of here. And then during the summer, we redo those things that need to get redone. And then we're still making changes that we can discuss.
Carl?
Yeah.
What?
I thought you had a question, that's all.
No, I was thinking of having a question, and I think my finger might have touched a button.
Okay.
My subconscious, but no.
Okay, thank you.
We need comic relief.
Go ahead, Julie. Last one.
Yeah, I was curious, how many students take virtual high school courses in general? I mean, 10 or
Not-
2 or, you know what I mean?
Not a ton.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
Not as
that's
many
kind of
as
hard.
used to.
Yeah, I would
We have
say.
more of that in-house now.
Yeah, I would say, anywhere from, 0 to 10, but I don't think we've gotten to 10 in 5-6 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember it used to be very popular. I
Yeah.
wondered if it still was.
I think
That's all.
there's definitely certain things, there are, we belong to a state program for AP sciences that,
Yeah.
schools can't offer it. We've had some kids try that. It runs through VHS. So, we had a year where we had 3 or 4 students jump into some of those. And then there's some things like sign language and that kids show an interest in, and that we don't have, but can get through VHS. So, it's a handful, and we're glad to have the opportunity to be able to utilize that if there's classes kids want to take that can't. And then there's sometimes when kids show interest in VHS, but we can find other ways through, our partnerships with colleges and stuff like that. And so I think that's really speaks to why there's fewer taking, because sometimes we
Yeah,
can
I see a
find
lot of other
a better
opportunities.
opportunity than that, that kids just aren't aware of, but they look up VHS and like, oh, I like this class. And then they're like, oh, we have the same one, but you have to do it here. And sometimes in person works better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to vote.
I don't think we made a motion.
No, I don't think so either.
I make a motion.
Yes, I made
Yep.
the motion.
Oh, she did.
About an hour ago.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
Bonnie.
seconded. I
Okay.
seconded.
okay. Kim?
Yeah.
Carl?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And Arthur, yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're gonna
Start
welcome,
scheduling.
Thank you.
Yep.
Rescheduling the May 1st school committee meeting. That's sort of on me. I'm not going to be here on May 1st, so if we could move that, I would appreciate it.
Are you looking to just push it to the next week, or, I mean, there's a few weeks in May, I don't know what the May.
Well, I think we have, our next one is scheduled for the,
27th or something like that? No.
No, wait, today's the
29th. Possibly,
No, the next one is May 1st.
The next one would be May 1st.
right, but I'm saying, and then the one after that, I was trying to figure out, so we had.
Oh,
May
it was,
29th.
it's quite,
May
it's a few
29th.
May
weeks.
29th, yeah, so I don't know if the week before that would be,
That's what I didn't know, if you were looking for the, like, the 8th or the 15th or the 22nd. Then you have 2 weeks in a row. That doesn't.
the week of the 15th is not good because there's town meeting week in there and then the Masbo conference is that week. That's why we're not
Oh, the
scheduled.
15th is back?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a Thursday.
It does
No.
not.
Could we do it on
Or
Wednesday?
it's-
Maybe.
or
Tuesday?
just a
Depends
suggestion.
on which Wednesday.
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Or did you have a suggestion of a date
No, whatever works.
that accommodates your weekly away?
We could do it on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. I don't care.
I can do Tuesdays, I can't do Wednesdays.
Tuesday, what?
Well, there's a policy meeting currently scheduled for Wednesday, so
Wednesday the 3rd,
I-
yeah.
I can do Tuesdays, well, I can't do May the 1st actually, so I can do Tuesday or
I
Wednesday.
think Tuesday is
But,
Yeah,
Tuesday, what's the date?
Tuesday the 29th?
Tuesday, the 29th, everybody?
Of April 29th?
April 29th.
Yep.
yes.
And will it be at 6?
What'd you say, Bonnie?
May
I didn't hear what she said.
She would like the 8th.
Oh,
Oh,
and
that
people
would-
do May 8th?
Yes.
That's the week of town meetings.
That's, yeah, that was the
Yeah, I
the
think
week
that-
with all the town meetings.
Yeah, so May 5th,
The bigger
6th.
problem is I have a
When is-
NASDAQ board meeting, but
Is there does one of the towns have the 8th?
no, but
No,
there's
but-
other things scheduled.
We're close.
And I think we have some dates out there for potential negotiations that week, so besides,
Can you do the 29th, Bonnie? Or no?
It's really hard, but I don't know, I might be able to. But you should have a quorum with, I'm trying to look at my calendar. You should have a quorum without me.
So you are talking about April 29th, though,
April
right?
29th.
So before May 1st? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that would be confusing, but the next, yeah, May 29th or April 29th? Oh, wow, look at
Or
that.
the 28th.
No, that's right.
that's the first day right back after
Vacation.
vacation.
Yeah, that probably is tough. That's a tough
I
day.
mean, as it is, that
Well, I'm
means
traveling that
we
day
have
anyway.
tomorrow to do an agenda because
Yeah, right.
Scratch that.
Let's try the 29th.
Yeah, the 29th works. I'm traveling on the 20th.
So did you want to look at the week of May 19th? Or is that getting, I don't know what else is going on.
I'm so lost.
I mean, I could do almost any night that week, and then
Can everybody
the other one
do
is the 29th.
May 8th versus, I mean, I have a board meeting, but I can't back out of a board meeting.
That's a
On which
Thursday.
day?
That's the Thursday.
The May 8th.
I can do May 8th.
I can do May 8th.
I
No,
can't do
but-
I can do
Oh, well, I'm
May
not that important.
There's not something else scheduled for me?
I have something scheduled for May 8th.
Okay.
But that's a good sign, because that means the towns are done.
Yeah, the towns are done, they'll be done.
They're not done.
They're done
They're
on
just
the
done
6th.
for that week. I have 2 on the 5th, 1 on the 6th. Possibly negotiations on the 7th. Possibly a
just a
school
lot.
committee on the 8th, another one on the.
That's a busy week.
It's a busy.
That's a
That's
very
too
busy
busy.
week. Yeah, I was going to say, that's going to be
That's
busy
too
for
busy.
everybody.
Yeah.
What
Well,
about?
it seemed like the 29th was good for almost
Yeah,
everybody.
No, Bonnie.
I mean, Bonnie was a maybe, but it
Yeah.
seemed like it was okay for everybody else. We should look at that.
April 29th. I will make an adjustment as necessary.
Right.
Alrighty,
April 29th it is.
We could
Oh,
do
that's-
a policy on, moving on the 30th.
Oh, but we're on such a roll with policy, I hate to do that.
Isn't the ad- I can't do the
Such a
30th.
huge
Wednesdays.
job, I hate to,
Wednesdays are
because it'll
out.
take us weeks to reschedule it.
Well, we're working on weeks to reschedule this right now.
Well,
is everybody good with the 29th?
Yes?
Yeah.
My best.
And that's moving the meeting of the 28th.
No, it's moving May
Correct.
1st.
May
No,
first.
moving May
Moving
1st.
May 1st,
Oh,
buddy.
moving May 1st. All right, May 1st to the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
the 29th, it is.
We don't know what she's saying. I know that, okay.
Wow.
Thank you, Bonnie, thank you, everyone.
Wow.
Ri- Well, Kim,
Oops.
She just muted herself.
Okay. She wasn't talking to us,
oh,
I don't believe.
okay. On to resignation of school committee member Stephanie Ulrich. So the letter is in your packet. I tried to call the town today. They're supposed to be getting back to me next week. That's what's happening. So that's where we are with that.
Does the school committee have to accept the resignation, or is it the town accepts the resignation?
I think both, you inform both, but the town will.
Yeah.
But you don't have, but do we vote to accept the
No.
resignation? That's what I wonder.
No, we
Because at the
don't.
town level, they would. But that's okay.
No.
Okay, approval of overnight field trip request from Chris Thompson.
Here he is.
Here he is.
This is the same trip we made 2 years ago. This drone team has qualified for the Northeast Regional Championship in West Virginia again at Fairmont State University. So same kind of deal, it's a 2-day tournament. Drive down Friday, do the tournament Saturday, Sunday, drive back Monday. This year it's only 2 students. Not that the program's dropped off, it's actually the program expanded. So 2 years ago we had 4 students on the team, and that was the whole group. But this year we had 13 students interested in drones. So we did split them up into 4 different groups. They had 3 kids to a team, one team had 4. So this one team, only one of the teams didn't make the qualification, but we're gonna bring them down there and represent Mount Everett in Massachusetts. And there's only 3 schools from Massachusetts that have made this, Hamden Charter and East Longmeadow and us, that's it. So we've got the approval to go on down and do our best.
Yep.
Awesome. I make a motion that we approve this field trip.
I move to approve.
Second it, Bonnie.
I moved first, Bonnie.
Okay, Kim,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Miguel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes?
Art, yes. Okay, awesome. Review and approve school committee norms and beliefs.
I thought those were,
For some reason, I
the goals
No.
weren't passed, but the norms were passed.
Yeah, the norms were passed, but the goals weren't.
Right, but that's not what.
That's not
That's
what's
not what this says.
Yeah,
So,
so good for us, we can just
Yeah.
take that one off.
that's
Oh.
next.
Backwards?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's backwards.
yeah, the goals are the ones that needed a little more
That's,
refinement.
I think so. Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, wait, I thought we approved this.
That's okay, so we'll just move it for, this,
Okay.
this is all set.
Yeah,
Okay. So we need to bring back the goal.
Yeah,
Will those goals be able to stand for next year too, since it's now April of this year?
you can make that motion.
Can it be an extended period?
You
I
can
mean,
make that
They
motion,
all
yeah.
seem to, okay, I will review them with that eye.
That was discussed
Yeah,
as that we would make it a 2-year 2-year period, and it was also one of Liverpool Bond's suggestions.
Okay.
Finance Committee. We were supposed to have a meeting the other night. We didn't have a quorum, so we didn't, but we had a discussion between the people that were here, so I think we're good. We will try to reschedule another Finance Committee meeting. Community.
Before you go
ahead.
on, can I just comment,
Yes.
the subset, the building and grounds,
Oh.
we did have our tour yesterday. I want to thank Paul and Ed Brammer. We had a fabulous tour. Saw nooks and crannies hadn't seen before, and it was just a really good 3 hours well spent. Appreciate their time and expertise. Great.
Community Relations.
It's on its way to publication. The budget newsletter is done. We had some really interesting articles, but I want to kudos to Miguel for working on being the first person or first article on community engagement and advocacy, especially given the situation that we're running into with the House and Ways Committee, Subcommittee. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be good. And it's already out to print, and
Looks great.
and it looks fabulous. It does. Yeah, I should say that. Yeah, not to tout our own horns or toot our own horns or anything, but yeah, no, it's I'm very pleased, very proud of everybody, and pleased, and yeah, nice job.
Policy, Carl?
Yeah, we had what I feel was a very successful, productive meeting of the policy subcommittee last week. I want to, not congratulate is the wrong word, but I wanted to say both Art and Julie how efficient and thoughtful we all were, and of course a big hands together for Liz LaFont, who's doing a really good job. She's putting a lot of time in whatever money we're spending, whatever money the district is spending on having her assist us with it is money well spent, I think. And we're going to go through the policy. It's a long process, but I think it's going very well. And I think we're on track to get a lot of good work done. That's it.
Thank you. Personnel negotiations, Bonnie?
Yes, we are moving along. Our last was at the gathering we had of our whole school committee. We have had to postpone the negotiations session, but we have new dates moving ahead. And in the interim, small group action and back and forth to make sure there's agreement on language in certain areas. The objective being that we can start putting together tentative agreements, TAs, that are linked to other TAs. So I am a lot more hopeful that we're going to meet. We're not going to be in July and still negotiating.
Can I ask Bonnie a question?
Certainly, Carl.
Of course.
Yeah. Bonnie, is there a meeting scheduled? I should know this, but I have to say that sitting here at the moment I don't. Is there another meeting of the subcommittee, just the subcommittee, coming up soon? And if so, when is it?
No, there isn't, because we usually try to tie it to the overall negotiations.
Right.
So we picked out some negotiations dates today, and based upon those dates, it would be, making sure that I can get the whole negotiation subcommittee there on those days.
Okay, thank you.
That's my convoluted response to
Yeah, no, it's fine.
basically
Okay,
how
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Bonnie. Superintendent
You're welcome.
evaluation.
Nothing to report.
Okay, Kim, thank you. Executive minutes, Carl?
Oh, same answer, and nothing further to report at this time.
Okay. Future agenda items? Is there anything else?
Not yet, we're still waiting for their,
Okay. Do we need an executive session?
we do not today.
We do not. So, number 16.
I make a
Who wants to
motion,
make
we
that?
adjourn.
To adjourn.
Everybody's second. Time to go.
Kim?
Yeah.
Carl?
Yeah,
Bonnie?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Art? Yes. Good night, everybody, and thank you.